Hey guys, welcome to Cal's Corner, and today I'll be going through the transfer window, doing my review and giving you my thoughts and opinions on what we did. Was it good enough? Wasn't it good enough? Let's get to it. I think there's two ways that we can view this transfer window. I think there's an objective way where we just go through the transfers and see how we strengthened compared to last season. That's probably a more organized way to do it, but there's also the fan way of doing it, the fan and me, the fan and some of us, how we feel, what we wanted. It's more emotional and probably it's how most people are going to react to this window. And I think it's about finding a balance between the two. I think it's about being objective and coming to conclusions based on our circumstance, but also you can't take away the emotion and the context away from football or transfers in general. So I think to have a more complete take, it's probably better to be somewhere in the middle, but we'll see how we get. Um, Personally, I've been living in Australia and I've been up since 1 a.m. just refreshing Twitter over and over to see who we signed and, you know, just being involved, tweeting, going on YouTube channels, all that stuff, and just, yeah, um, it's been a long day. So let's get to it. Let's get to the incomings. Uh Technically David Raya, he's on the books, but he basically just made his deal permanent. Ricardo Calafiori, uh left back slash um left sided center back. Mikel Merino, uh left sided center mid. Neto on loan from Bournemouth as a second choice goalkeeper, and Raheem Sterling as a left winger, I presume, coming in from Chelsea on a loan with no obligation. Um, Outgoings, we Emil Smith Rowe to Fulham, Eddie Nketiah to Crystal Palace, Aram Ramsdale to Southampton, Mohamed El Neni and Cedric. We both got rid of. We basically ran on their contracts. Arthur Ukwanko. I don't know about this player. He went to Wrexham apparently, according to the Arsenal website. I actually don't know who this guy is. Or he's another goalkeeper that we sold. Ay ay ay, goalkeeper. Anyway, um, Fabio Vieira, he's on loan to Porto. Sambi Lakonga, he's with Sevilla on loan. Nuno Tavares on loan. Carl Hein on loan. And um, Reese Nelson on loan as well. So we loaned out quite a bit of players, trying to get them their experience. I think most of those players that we went on loan, we don't have plans for. I think the only player I think we might have plans for is maybe Callahan to see if he comes good. I think the rest of loans is us trying to just maintain their value and keep them playing football, so we can sell them. But let's start at the back and then move our way forward from the pitch. Um, Outgoings and incomings. So let's start with, I guess, goalkeeping position. The big one, Aaron Ramsdale, Southampton. Um, we sold him for 18 million and with 6 million add-ons. Let me just double check that. Yep, so 18 million, potentially rising to 25 million pounds. I think the entire Ramsdale situations are just a massive shame. While I do think Raya is the better goalkeeper, I think the way we handled it was pretty horrendous. I think I just feel really bad for him. He helped us qualify for Champions League, but I don't think we gave him. I can't remember giving him a single Champions League game. He just fell out of favor because Arteta wanted to use Raya, which is fair enough. We were ruthless, which is not necessarily a bad thing when we're trying to win the league and win Champions Leagues. We have to be ruthless. Um, but it doesn't mean I can't still feel bad for Aaron Ramsdale. And I think the fact that the little opportunities he did get last season, the mistakes that he made, just made his stock dip. The things that he said in that podcast where he said he can't concentrate that well in goal, his dad coming out and saying weird things. It just wasn't a good situation. So I actually don't blame Edu for the price that he got for this one. I think we got pretty much as good as we're going to get if we wanted to sell him, or he'd be just rotting on the bench. That being said, we made David Raya permanent because he was on loan last season. I don't think I need to say any more on David Raya. He's clearly the better goalkeeper, and he saved us in those last two games that we played in the season. The Aston Villa game and the first game that we played against Wolves came in clutch. He looks more focused than last season. I think the way he collects the crosses, he's shown that he's always been good with his feet. He's able to pick a man out with a long ball. He's able to catch the crosses from corners. He's very, very, very good signing that we managed to get. Um, and he just looks more confident. He just looks more confident than he did last season. I think maybe the fact that he knows that Aaron Ramsdale can't take his spot has made him sharper. Is either that or he's just kind of more focused and on form, but he's looking like an excellent signing. I'm very happy with David Raya. Because of the Aaron Ramsdale exit, we had to get another second choice goalkeeper, which was Neto from Bournemouth. Um, and I think he's okay. The biggest problem with him is that he's cup tied, so he actually can't play. I'm pretty sure we can't play him in the Carabao Cup, which is an absolute disaster class because uh the whole reason we have second choice goalkeepers is to play in the cup competitions, at least in the early stages, to give our goalkeeper a rest. We don't want to overplay our keepers and make them get injured. And the second choice goalkeeper that we got, because we had to get rid of Ramsdale, is just can't can't do half. He basically can't play most of the games we'd want to be playing him with, which is absolutely horrendous business. I mean, our other signing, which our other goalkeeper we were going for, Garcia, um, that just fell apart because they wanted a full 30 million for him, and we were never going to pay 30 million for a second choice keeper. I'm really glad Arsenal didn't bend the knee and pay that money for that keeper. But I have to say, I'm not very happy with the goalkeeping situation at Arsenal. I think we get too many keepers, and we're in a situation where we're going to have to sort out the goalkeeping situation again next season because Neto is old and he's on loan. So, next summer transfer window, we're going to be looking for more keepers. I think the keeping situation, as I said before, is terrible. I think on the last day of the window, when you're thinking we're going to sign a big name forward and you're excited and all you're seeing is us haggling for keepers, and the fact that we still didn't solve the problem doesn't it's just not good enough from the club. Not very happy with that. Moving to the fence, to the outfield, uh outgoings, I don't think we got rid of a single defender. We kept every single one. There were rumors about maybe Zinchenko leaving or Kivior leaving. I'm actually glad Zinchenko didn't leave. Shock horror. I think he can actually do a job for the games where we go up against slow blocks. I think he's really good at progressing that ball and overloading the midfield we when we do face low blocks. Um, so I think keeping him as a tool, as just another tool to have for games, I think that's excellent. Kivior, ideally would have liked to probably get a sale for him, but it didn't end up happening. I'm not too upset about that, mainly because of the injury, how injury prone Tomiyasu is. Because Tomiyasu right now is currently injured and he cannot be relied upon if we ever get to the point where we have to start dipping into the, third and fourth choice defensive options in that left back area, or even a center back. Kivior is good enough. I think he still provides depth to be center backs in some of the cup games as well. I'm not too stressed about whether the fact that Kivior didn't leave or go on loan or anything like that. I think he did a decent job at the end of the season, and he's probably exactly what I would expect from an Arsenal quality bench player that's third or fourth choice. And in concerning the incomings, we brought in Calafiori, Riccardo Calafiori from Bologna, one of the top centre backs, top young centre backs slash left backs from the Italian league. And while I admit I haven't seen too much of him, the little that I have seen of him, I've been impressed. And he just reinforces that our defense. We had the strongest defense in the league last season, and he's just another tool to add to that. I think eventually he maybe starts for us, which is just good for the club. I 100% back that signing. I think it's excellent, and it shows that how attractive we are, and we're able to attract young, good young talent uh from other leagues. But no outgoings for the defense. Surprise, surprise. Uh, let's see. Time to talk about the midfield. Um, Midfield outgoings. Sambi Lokonga on loan doesn't really matter for me. He's either here or there for me for Sambi Lokonga because he was never going to kick a ball at Arsenal again. I think it's a shame we couldn't get an actual sale for him, but I'm either here or there. Maybe he does a job at Sevilla and then he increases his value so we could get some more on him later. Not really too worried about that. Um, I mentioned Mohamed El Neni before. He wasn't good enough to play for Arsenal anyway, and he left on a free, so that's either here or there. Uh, Fabio Vieira. This is a weird one because um, I'm not sure if I count him as a forward or a midfielder, but I think I'll count him as a forward option simply because he basically got put into Arteta would play him on the right wing most of the time, and he just he's just not in form at the moment. He just couldn't adjust to the Premier League. He wasn't getting, in my opinion, he just wasn't getting enough games to do that an adjustment. And every time he would get a couple games, and he'd get an injury. So he's just going back to Porto on loan, and hopefully that kind of increases his value because I don't see a way forward with Fabio Vieira at this club. I think I think it's finito for him. I don't think he's actually going to be playing for Arsenal once he comes back from loan. Concerning incomings, we got Mikel Moreno, uh, the left center mid option. Arsenal fans, we saw that there have been problems on that right side. I mean on that left side, and Mikel Moreno, hopefully solves that. I think it's an excellent signing. And I think it's a good bit of business. Uh, Good price as well. Um, and you there isn't that much that needs to be said about Mikel Moreno in terms of his duel winning that he does, his ability to progress the ball, and his ability to he plays in that Spanish team, and they are very similar to our style of football. So I think he was always going to be a very, very nice fit. Hopefully he is the Xhaka replacement that we needed in the squad, and hopefully he can help. Martinelli and any sort of left wing that we have um, in build up play and um, stuff like that. I think it's an excellent signing. Um, Onto the forward line, and this is where we had the most exits. We got rid of Eddie Nketiah on a permanent deal to Crystal Palace. I think Eddie Nketiah is probably we got was a $30 million dollar fee. I think that was a good price. I think that was excellent business. I think Eddie Nketiah was almost good enough to be on our bench. I think he's good enough to start for a mid-table club. Um, it's just once you get to the point where Arsenal's at right now, you all your bench players basically, at least your second choice bench players, really need to be almost starter level quality, if not starter level quality for top four clubs, top six clubs. Um, and unfortunately, Eddie Nketiah just didn't have enough impact in games when he was subbed on, and he didn't have enough impact in games where he started last season. And um, I think I agree that getting rid of Nketiah was probably the best choice for us as a club. Um, Another outgoing was Reece Nelson. Everything that could probably be said about Nketiah could be said about Reece Nelson. Almost good enough, not quite. Um, I really we sent him on loan to Fulham, where he's gonna join uh Emil Smith Rowe. I think he's probably gonna do a job there, and I think he's probably gonna bang. Not sure if we have any plans to actually keep him. I I have a I'm just holding out against hope that Nelson kind of finds his form and becomes a valuable player for us. Um, because at Arsenal he was just with Saka on that right hand side. He just cannot get a string of games, and he can't. Arteta didn't trust him to do a job on a consistent basis. So I think him getting game time is the best for him, and it's at a decent level club. I think Fulham's a good club. He's going to be playing very competitive football, and we're really going to see what he's made of. And we get to kind of he gets to come back. You know what I mean? And if he actually bangs, he just slots right in. And if he wants to leave and he wants to, start for another club, his value increases. You know what I mean? So that's a good deal for us. Now that's and yep. And of course I can't forget we got Raheem Sterling on loan as our forward option. Um Objectively, Raheem Sterling is better than all our bench options, and he will do a good job for us this season. I don't believe he falls off a cliff. Um, the only problem with the Raheem Sterling signing is it's twofold. I think first he isn't what the fans wanted in terms of the high profile like forward position that we thought we were gonna need. Um and second of all, I objectively he isn't the long term option for Arsenal. He is a feels like almost panic sign, last minute kind of Hail Mary for the season. Um that might sound harsh, but he isn't in the long term plans. Ideally, we wanted Arsenal fans, and even objectively, you would want someone in who's young, who's driven, who has a lot of potential, probably world class potential. And by young, I mean, 21, 22, not like a teenager or anything like that. So we have time to kind of develop them, while they're not maybe the complete product, they're almost there or thereabouts, like a Nico Williams. Um, but we ended up with Raheem Sterling, and the fact that he's another Chelsea kind of reject, which is a bit harsh, but it's what we tend to do. We tend to get in these windows, we tend to get players that from Chelsea that Chelsea themselves don't want, that Chelsea themselves are actively trying to sell. No, we're not taking their players, we're just kind of taking what's left. Um, but I really hope Raheem Sterling does well for us. I really hope he bangs. As I said, he's a better option than what we have before. Right. Time for the rating I give this window objectively is a 6 out of 10. I think we've strengthened in a lot of areas. I think we addressed three areas of the pitch, which is defense, midfield, and attack. We addressed three of them. Um, where we fall short is that we should have made it more of a priority to get that massive forward coming in, so that X factor that we need to secure games. But we at least addressed the forward position with a player of quality. We strengthened the best defense in the league, and we got Mikel Moreno in, who's going to bolster our midfield and help us to kind of dominate games even more effectively. The fan rating, the fan rating for this window is a 4 out of 10, maybe 3. And the reason why I say the fan rating is that low, it's because as I said before, it's about the context. I think, and I mentioned this in my last video, Arsenal didn't need to go for broke because we are there or thereabouts. We will challenge. Um, we will push City, believe. We will make it into the some of the latter stages of the Champions League. Um, we're probably going to get a bit farther in the cups, but we didn't do enough to win. And what I mean by that is we didn't do enough to force a win. I believe we only win this season is the only way we win this season is if Manchester City falls off. The reason I say that is because Manchester City has strengthened, and they've pretty much strengthened just as much as we have. They got Savio and Gundogan. Bad news for us. As I said, Savio looks like an absolute monster. Gundogan looks, well, we know who he is. Um, if Rodri get injured, he slots in there like a glove. He can play multiple places across that midfield. Very comfortable. Um, City is stronger than they are last season, hands down. Um, and we closed. We didn't really close the gap. We basically we're basically still chasing them. So if this is City and this is us, that's basically what's happening there. Um, the Cronkies not going for broke this season also tells me that, as I said before, we're just in the mix. And it's Champions League money and yada yada yada. Um, the only hope that I have is that PSR is still affected in this window. and in the January transfer window, apparently it's um a brand new set. Uh, the window's pretty disappointing. Um, from a forward standpoint, the fans can get excited behind a forward. I think it's what we've been crying out for years, and we just did not address the issue. We're just not getting that striker that we all wanted. For this window to be a 10 out of 10, like objectively, if we signed a top level striker, the window probably would have been a 9 out of 10. 9 or 10 out of 10. Maybe a 9. I think I would have given the window a 9 out of 10 if we signed, let's say we triggered the Eucharist release clause or got Osimhen or something like that. Um, what would make it a 10 out of 10 is if we signed Nico Williams on like a Eucharist, where we get that exciting forward that we wanted, that forward guy on the left hand side, and get a brand new striker. We kind of did neither, and but we at least still addressed that left side with quality. So that's how it goes from a 5. Well, it basically went from a 4 to a 6 with the Raheem Sterling loan, because I think we didn't really need to get another defender. I think 50% of our problem was the attack, and the rest was defense and midfielder. I probably a solid. I think it would be about 30% midfield, 20% defending, because getting another option at left back position and that left sided position's really good, and getting that midfield is very good. Um, but we just needed to do more in attack. Getting Sterling brings it up from a 4 to a 6. If we got a Nico Williams, it would have been a 7 or an 8. And if we got an attacker along with Nico Williams, it would have been a 10, a striker. I just hope we can hold on until the January transfer window and we do something there, because us not addressing this forward situation is just not good. It's just not good. If we are losing games come January, it's the club has just put themselves in such a bad situation, and they've put themselves in a situation where everyone's doubting the commitment of the owners, and um, it's a very disappointing window from a fan perspective, and um, all we can do is kind of hope that Arteta could get a tune out of these guys, and we just keep firing and firing and firing, and we don't suffer any more injuries. Um, because we kind of, I think, when it's all said and done, we kind of have to have luck fall on our side, uh, for the rest of the season. Because if we get any more injuries, we're finished. If we get any injuries, we already have Jesus and Mikel Moreno injured right as we speak, and if we get any more, well, it's looking pretty long. So that's my thoughts on the transfer window. I think I'm going to give it a. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it in isolation. It's a 6 out of 10. But with the context of what we're trying to do for the season and who we're trying to beat and how stronger they've gotten, and this the Ramsdale situation and the goalkeeping situations, and you know I just have to give it a 5 out of 10, because I think the effects of not addressing everything in this transfer window is going to it's it's going to bleed into the next one and the next and the next. I think we have to start doing more in these transfer windows, and I'm happy that we got rid of some of the quote unquote dead wood, and I'm happy with the people that we did eventually sign, the permanent signings at least. Um, but we needed to do more if we wanted to take the title of City, which I think we're just gonna come up short. Just again, I'm not very confident. Um, but you know, we go again. See ya.